teacher at Healthy Minds Innovations, and I'm also a board certified health coach coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Thank you so much for joining me for practice today. I would love to hear from you where you're practicing today, what part of the world you're in. If you could just share with me in the chat, would really love to know who I'm practicing with today. If you're not familiar with who we are at Healthy Minds Innovations, we're a nonprofit that's affiliated with a research institution at the University of Wisconsin-Madison called the Center for Healthy Minds. And what we do at Healthy Minds Innovations is that we actually take the scientific insights coming out of the Center for Healthy Minds and we translate them into tools to help people both cultivate as well as measure well-being. We've been coming together each week to practice training our mind, to meditate together as a global community, to train our minds in resilience and other skills associated with well-being. And each week we've got a practice theme that we're working with. And so this week our practice theme is all about appreciation, which is one of the skills that falls underneath the dimension of well-being and the Healthy Minds model of well-being, that's connection. If you're not familiar with our Healthy Minds model of well-being, check us out at our website, tryhealthyminds.org. We've got essentially 4 different dimensions of well-being that each contain a set of skills that are both trainable, as well as science links them to being beneficial to well-being. These 4 dimensions are awareness, connection, insight, and purpose. So the practice of appreciation feels quite timely to me today with everything that's going on in the world. Appreciation essentially is our capacity to notice the positive. In the midst of all of the things that are going on in the world right now, we're continuing to navigate the pandemic. We're being bombarded with election information, political commercials and campaigns. We also have, of course, the very recent shooting of another Black man. His name is Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So lots of suffering in the world. And what can happen is that we can get really fixated on the negative. And of course, it's painful. And so, what appreciation practice does is it actually allows us to orient our minds to notice the positive things that are around us that we just normally don't tune into. There are positive capacities that our body has, there are positive things in our environment, in our relationships, in our lives that we just don't tune into because we tend to be so hyper focused on the negative. So this isn't about toxic positivity, if you've heard that term being thrown around. It's not about taking something negative and trying to spin it into something positive. Instead, we're actually just changing what we're paying attention to. So what we're going to do in our practice today is we're going to start with probably about half of our time really working with appreciation, and then I'd like to conclude by doing some compassion practice for Jacob Blake and his family, the community of Kenosha, and really everyone that's been impacted by the recent shooting. So let's go ahead and get started. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'll continue to check the chat here and see if who else is joining. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and get ourselves settled in for practice. We'll practice for probably about 20 to 25 minutes. So you might want to uncross your legs and place your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap. Kind of just relax the shoulders a bit. The idea here is that you want your body to be relaxed, yet alert. And you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. And take a moment to just bring awareness to something in your present experience. You might notice sensations in your body, feeling of the breath, or perhaps noticing some sound in your environment. So just simply noticing something to help you ground yourself in our practice. And as you're allowing your mind to settle on some aspect of your experience, see if you can take a moment to reflect on your motivation for practicing meditation together today and touch in with that in your mind. Why are you practicing? And see if you can set the intention to practice not only for the benefit of your own well being, but to practice for the benefit of others as well, knowing that our practice has a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves. So we're practicing to benefit others as well. And so let's bring awareness back to the body and begin to notice some positive things about our body. Our heart is beating all the time without us even knowing. Our lungs are breathing. Each breath giving us life. So, really feeling and tapping into a sense of appreciation for these systems in our body. You might feel that appreciation as sort of a felt sense, or you could even repeat a phrase in your mind. I appreciate my heart beating. I appreciate my lungs breathing. Take a moment to notice some of the positive systems in the body. Appreciating that each breath delivers oxygen to the body, allowing us to have energy. Each out breath gets rid of the stale breath that no longer is needed. Our digestive system processes our food, allows us to have energy, appreciating all of those things that are happening without us even knowing. The body is amazing. And you can extend this sense of appreciation beyond just the systems in the body into some of the other amazing capacities of the body. The sense of touch, appreciating the ability to feel sensation wherever we can in our body. Perhaps it's in the hands or the feet. feeling of the seat on the chair. We have this amazing capacity to experience sensation. I appreciate the capacity to feel. And so the idea here is that there is this sense of knowing, the awareness of appreciation, again, either those phrases or that felt sense. And so when you get distracted, simply bring your awareness back to connecting with this experience of appreciation. And then appreciating other capacities of the body, the ability for parts of the body to move, moving fingers if you have the ability to do so, your ability to walk, again, if the ability is there. So appreciating whatever abilities you do have. Our hands allow us to connect with our loved ones, hold hands, connecting with our pets or our children. All of these things that we take for granted. The body is amazing. And let's begin to expand this sense of appreciation into the senses, appreciating whatever capacity we have to hear, if that's available. And if hearing is a struggle, opening the eyes, noticing the sense of sight, appreciating whatever capacity we have to hear, to see. Our sense of hearing allows us to hear the sounds of music, children playing, birds singing, the voices of our loved ones. I appreciate my sense of hearing. Our sense of sight allows us to see nature, art, faces of our loved ones, technology that helps us remain connected in this challenging time. So I appreciate my sense of sight. And so let's take just a moment to rest the mind, simply letting go of the appreciation practice. Allow the mind to rest and notice whatever is present in your experience. You might feel some sensation in the body, thoughts going through the mind, whatever they are, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Maybe the practice is a struggle today, that's okay. Just be aware of what's going on in your mind and in your body. Not trying to block or push away experience, not trying to create something that's not happening. Just being aware of things as they are. And if your eyes have been closed, take a moment to open your eyes and look around you for a moment. Look around your environment and take a moment to notice something positive in your environment. It could be as simple as the fact that you have shelter and a safe space to practice, maybe a beautiful piece of art, plant, or nature out the window. Take a moment to notice some positive things that you appreciate in your environment. Noticing those moments when you're disconnected from the practice and returning your attention to whatever you're appreciating in your environment. Depending on the weather where you live, perhaps you can even appreciate a beautiful day. And once again, allow the mind to rest. Simply let go of the appreciation practice. Notice the impact of doing this practice of noticing the positive. Any thoughts, emotions, sensations, allow them to be as they are. All right, we're going to shift for the next couple of minutes to do a compassion practice. I know that we've got an international audience here. So, just for some context, there is a Black man who was shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is a northern state in the United States. And he was shot by the police while his children were in the car. And I would love for us to do just a few moments of compassion practice for this man and his family and the community. So, once again, you can close your eyes or gently keep your gaze soft And just bring to mind Jacob Blake, even if you don't have an image of him in your mind. Just recognizing how painful this is. Physical suffering, mental and emotional suffering, all the fear and hurt. Knowing that we've had those experiences of pain in our own lives. So just connecting that with that desire to be free from pain and suffering, knowing that in our own lived experience and really wishing for him to be free from suffering. So again, you can recite some phrases of compassion in your mind to connect with this desire, or our heart's response to suffering. May you be free from suffering and pain. And you can recite those phrases of compassion in your mind. So we're still connected to awareness, the sense of knowing. We're connected to the suffering and the care. So whatever way you want to remain in contact with the compassion, do that for a moment or two. Bringing to mind his children that were present as it all happened, and how scary, terrifying, and awful that experience must have been. Really wishing them to be free from pain. Beginning to include in our practice the whole community of Kenosha, how painful it is to have this happen in their own city, how real it becomes when it's happening in your backyard. And so just really wishing that the community is free from pain and suffering. And may there be healing. And then expanding our practice even further to all of those impacted by issues of racial and social justice, all of the injustice and violence and harm in the world, wishing there to be deep transformation and healing, wishing for there to be freedom from all of this pain, all of this suffering. And really recognizing that all beings everywhere want to be free from pain, and just expanding everyone everywhere to be included in our practice. May all beings be free from hardship, harm, and suffering. And then simply let go of the compassion practice and allow the mind to rest. Notice how you're feeling in your heart and your mind and your body, and allow whatever is here to be welcome. Simply allowing our experience to be as it is, even if it's painful, is a true act of self compassion. All right, and whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes if they've been closed. Would love to hear a word or two that describes how that practice was for you. Thank you so much for your practice today and for entertaining me in kind of going a little off track. It felt important to do compassion practice in light of the events in Wisconsin today. So, as you're sharing your experience in the chat, just a reminder what we practice today is the practice of the skill of appreciation, simply noticing the positive. And there are so many things that we just don't see in our daily lives that are positive and supportive. We've got our bodies doing these amazing things, breathing, heart beating, all the things. And we've got, of course, positive capacities in our senses. And even if everything is not functioning the way that we want, there is still something to be able to appreciate in our experience. So, really doing whatever feels the most alive for you. And then you can, of course, open up to your environment and even relationships. Although we didn't work with appreciation of our relationships today, that's certainly something that can be included in this practice. And then we cultivated, kind of connected with that sense of compassion, that desire to be free from suffering, and did that on behalf of all of those impacted by the shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So thank you so much for your practice today. We are going to be having a change in schedule. We're going to be moving to once weekly meditation starting, I believe it is next week, but check our social media and please, Healthy Minds Innovations, I think. Oh, great. So Peter, I should say, is leading practice on Thursday at 11 a.m. And then we're changing to doing practices only on Thursdays at 11 a.m. And I will be here with you next Thursday for our practice theme for the week, which is to be determined. So, wishing you some ease and some resilience in the midst of these really challenging times, and tap into your practice. Use it as a way in which we can work with our situation differently. So, thank you so much, and I will see you next Thursday.